Hello, Comp and Lit 4 students. This is Mr. Ryden, and in this video, I'm going to go through in a lot more detail on how you can set up your slides presentation for your monster presentation, and also some of the advanced features in both this SlidesCarnival slides that templates they give you, and in Google Slides itself. So let's start with SlidesCarnival. SlidesCarnival.com is a great resource for all these slides that have kind of um, a cool setup, and they give you all these like different slides that'll give you some ideas, and they give you cool layouts and good backgrounds, and you can delete anything and change anything. And there's a big number of slides in here, and they all follow the same format to give you this similar options, but with a different theme to it, right? So they have a nice title slide with something on it. Their little instructions saying like a hello subtitle slide, and then they give you some transitional like kind of subtopic things, a good quote thing. They even give you stuff with like little, big images, computer screen graphs, all this kind of stuff. So a ton of stuff that you can use. So I really like using this website because it's better to start off than with the base themes that Google Slides has built into it, because they're kind of boring. I don't know if they've updated them recently, but they're kind of boring and flat, and a lot of people use them. You see them all the time. So you want to try and find a source of templates where they're kind of new and interesting. So what I'm going to do for my monster presentation example here is I'm going to talk about one of my favorite monsters, and that is Cthulhu. So look at this guy. Yeah, ooh, scary Cthulhu, right? What I'm going to do is I could just search through, and I can delete any slides, and I can add a different image, like over this one if I wanted. Maybe I just like the fonts or the setup or something like that. But I'm going to search around. Instead, I'm going to search for water, which I've already got up there. And I come up with this cool slide right here. Lots of neat options, but I like this one right here. So I go through and I preview it. Whenever I click on it, it brings up a page for the slide presentation. And so that I can use it in Google Slides, I scroll down here and, I click through and I check it. And yes, I do like this one a lot. Really neat, right? I go into use as Google Slides theme. And so now this comes up, and I can, check through it or whatever, but I go to use template, and it takes a minute. But what it's doing in the background is it's creating my own version of it in my Google Slides, right? So you see I'm in mine. I can edit this one now. I can even find this one in my own Google Drive now. It'll be there. It takes a couple minutes to show up, and they're searchable, but it'll be there. So first things first, I'm going to edit the title because I want to make sure I can find it easily. And I'm going to call it Write-In Monster Presentation. Okay. I'm going to actually add Cthulhu. There we go. Great. You don't have to put it in this format, but I would like you to title it with your last name or names if you're doing a partner presentation. And I would put like monster presentation. It's easier for you to find it when you want to go back and work on it. You'll see that it should have already appeared in here, but if I go in and I go to my recent ones, under my recent search right there, I like to use Google Drive. I don't like to use the slides.google.com or whatever. But if you go to drive.google.com, you go in, it's easy to find in there, or you can search up here for it if it's not so recent, if you worked on some other stuff. And it drops into your main Drive folder, so it'll be down in there somewhere. It will appear wherever, but we won't waste time looking for it. Okay, so now I've got this this cool presentation that I can do. And so I can go in and I can edit text on any of these slides. I can delete any of them and use them as I see fit. So I'm going to start out with editing this text on here. I just highlight it and I'm going to put Cthulhu. And then I'm going to Cthulhu. That's right. Did I screw it up in my... Didn't know there's an extra H in there. Learn something new every day, don't you? Cthulhu. Okay, sure. Anyway, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to take down my text size to like, let's say 30. I'm going to say by Jeffrey R. Ryden. Okay, great. You don't have to quite me like that. You can just put your first name or first names if you're doing a partner presentation. And then I've got that very basic. I go through here, all these instructions you can look at, but I don't want this slide. I'm just going to get rid of that. This is kind of a nice opening one if I want to do it, but let me talk about here. So I look at my notes a little bit. So I can delete any slides I want to. I can change the text. Another cool feature these have is that what I like about these is they give you some ideas of how a slide should look. You don't want to have too much. You want to kind of have a list of things. You don't want full sentences that you're going to talk about. So you're just looking for slides that'll work with that. But when I go through, they have some cool ideas like not every slide has to be a bunch of bulleted information and a picture and a big explanation. The less, the better. As I say in class, this should be your hype man. This is your guy in the background that's like just throwing out a little bit of info so your audience is focusing on you. It should back you up, not take over the show. So this is a cool idea. You know, they have that stylized. There's like the quotes up there. And they have, you can just put a quote in here. If you have like a quote from a novel or something like that, that includes your monster. This is a cool way to do that. They go through and they give you some other ideas about using icons or illustrations for a big concept. They get you set up so you have 2 columns or 3 columns, just so, I mean, you can set these up yourself, yes, by adding in text boxes or whatever, but it's nice to have it already set up for you. And let's say I like this one right here, but I need a couple like it. Hopefully not every slide is going to be set up the same because that gets boring, but all I got to do is right click and duplicate slide. And now I've got 2 that are identical and I can edit, you know, whatever I want to on one. And then, you know, it's just like that, right? Another thing, you know, they give you a cool ideas to set up, like have a big picture. And this, I can actually replace this image. So let's go ahead and check that out while we're at it. We'll go with this cool one here. I think because I'm going to go to replace image, what happens in here is I got to upload it for the computer or do it by URL. I can't just like right click, copy and paste. Because if I do that, what I'm going to get, that's an easy way to add it to your slide. I'm going to right click, copy is what I went to. Okay. And then I'm going to go, let's say I want to paste it on this slide somewhere. I press Control V, or you can right click and paste. And now I've just got my slide there. But let's say I don't want that there. I want it to be in this cool circle that they have set up like this. So I'm going to go and I'm going to right click and say copy link address. Okay, should be copy link address, or is it no, copy image address. I'm sorry, scratch that. Link address is going to be whatever the website is it's coming from. Copy image address. And I'm going to go in here and on there, I'm going to replace image. And I'm going to go to by URL, or I could download the image and then upload it back. But this is just an easy way to use the web for it. And I'm going to replace it. And then see, there you go. Now, this frame's okay. You'll run into a lot where when you're putting them in these circles and stuff that it kind of throws it off. But that's a cool way to do that. I have that added in now. That looks really neat. And I can add in stuff here like Cthulhu, who apparently is really scary and apparently really big. Okay, that's not how you should have your write up your stuff, but there we go, some sample text. Then they have great stuff like here, like use a big image or whatever. You know, that's kind of a nice thing. You don't have to have a bunch of words on your slide. If you just have a full image, like, you know, we got him right here, like here is a cool one. Like, let's say I want to have a full image for that one, right? This is a good image I could actually use, but I could replace this as well. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go through these slides a little bit, and then we'll talk about replacing background images. So they also give you plenty of little things, like you could have a map where if you had, you know, you can move all these things around too, like, and you could say, you know, this is like where the legend comes from, or sightings of like werewolves or wendigos or whatever, or you just don't have to use it. You know, if you have a really big number, sometimes maybe not so much for this monster presentation. I'm sure you could find a reason to do it. But if you have a really big number, sometimes it's really good, even without context, to just get rid of this whole thing here, this text box. And if you're talking about like why people shouldn't smoke, and you say every year 89,526,124 people die from smoking, and that number's up there while you're talking about what a big number that is, that has an impact on your audience. You don't have to write out everything you're going to say on here, and less is more, really. Okay, go through. They got lots of cool stuff. These are kind of neat too, because you can add in a picture that looks like it's on a tablet or a computer. But another thing that you can look at is these right here. So like, let's say that I want to use this little icon here, and I can just copy it. And then I want to put that one in my, this one right here, because I'm going to be like, that's Cthulhu's flag or whatever. And then these are all vectorized, so they can resize and they can reshape, and they won't be all blurry or anything like that. You can even grab this whole thing and like turn it a little bit. So that's how I can use those icons to add into any slide that I want to. Okay, great. Now, let's see. Sorry, I'm making sure I got everything on my list that I'm getting to here. So we've added picture and text. Let's say, just to kind of go back to some basics here, that I want to add a picture in like this guy. Okay, and I'm going to copy. This will actually bring up something really interesting. Notice this is 220 by 300. That's pretty small overall. So when I start pasting this, when I start pasting this on here, and it might look okay on here. That's not too bad. It's a little grainy though. That's where when you get it blown up and it looks like really grainy overall. This one might do okay because it's a drawing or whatever. But what I can do to try and find a larger version of it is I can right click on any image. You definitely don't want to copy these because they're thumbnails, and you'll paste it and it'll be a tiny blurry image that you paste. But if you go over here, and this one's okay, you can copy and paste it. Or I can search Google for image. We'll see. This one looks like it might not have a lot. So they have all other sizes. So that one was 220 by 300. But if I go to this one here, they have a larger one. You can already tell it's larger by the preview. That's actually a pretty sizable image. But it looks super blurry and gross because someone's just blown it up. But it gives you a chance to kind of search through and find. So we just added that on there. It's somehow less blurry in the background. But let me go through. That one's not as bad for a larger one. So let's say that I want to go with one of these. Let's say I'm happy with this one, even though I'm not. I'd just use a different image. But if I copy it, I can paste it here, and it'll be, I guess it'll look a little bit better blown up, right? So anyway, that's how you can search for larger images. Sometimes there's just not a larger image available, like pixel-wise, so you can make them look less blurry. But anyway, let's look at something new then. So let's say I want to use this one because this is cute and funny. And I'm going to add this to this right here. Now, there's a lot of things I can do. I can do the same thing with text, too, so keep that in mind. But if I want to go under format options, under format options, there's a lot of different things I can do, but the one that I really like is drop shadow. I love using drop shadow. I think it looks really cool. And what it does is it helps get I'm going to move my text over here. What it does is it kind of helps pop it out from the background. So I have a drop shadow added, but what I need to do is get some distance on it. So you can now see it'll be popping out down there, and you see the shadow that appeared. And then if I go and I put it at an angle, I want to put it this way. I want it to go that way. And it kind of rotates out. That's cool. And then I like to add a little blur radius to it. And now you see how it feels like it's actually coming off the page a little bit. It adds some depth to it. I really like drop shadow. And you can do it on text as well. Where you can add a drop shadow in on the text, right? Yeah. I know I can do it. Let me see if I got it set up right. There we go. Okay, cool. A little blur on it. A little less blur. But I want to do like an angle on it around or whatever. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. The text, it can be a little distracting, but it does look cool sometimes. That was not too bad. I'd tweak it a little bit and probably still use it. And it helps give some dimension to your slide overall, right? The other thing you can do is you can have it do a reflection. I'm going to take off the drop shadow. You can do both, but it'll have a reflection on it. And then what that does is it gives you a little bit, like I'm going to take that distance down. Ooh, that's probably such a big reflection because there's so much extra there. But you see reflection, and you can kind of change the size of it or whatever. You can actually make it blur out a little bit so it feels like it's in kind of a mirror kind of thing. I don't always use this. I don't like it that much, but it's a feature that's out there for you to use. And these other ones, like on the photos, they have a color. Other ones, like you can recolor and make it look a little weird. It doesn't work for a lot of pictures. It kind of makes them look weird, but it's something you might find that you like. That's just a position which you can drag anyway. And same with size and rotation. You can just resize and rotate from there. So, okay, those are some ways that I can mess around with the pictures. Another thing I can look for is if I'm going to look for Cthulhu, but I want to do this. I want to have a transparent background, right? Okay, now these get a little tricky. This is definitely advanced stuff. What you're looking for is has a transparent background where this isn't going to show up in the background. And I found the way to finally figure out how to tell if it's transparent or not. If it has the checkerboard in the background on your thumbnail preview, it means that if I copy this one and I paste it on here, let's go to a new slide here. Let's go to here, right? Sure, I'm just going to get rid of a lot of this anyway. I can paste it on, and I see how it's like that. That's not right. It's because Google grabbed this from a website that is giving you a preview or something like that. But if you look at one and you don't see that checkerboard, but when you click on it in the preview, you do, See, there's the checkerboard. There's not on this one. In the preview, if you see it over here, and I right click and copy this one, and then I paste it onto here, paste, there we go. Now you can see it. You see through it. It looks cool. It's just you don't have the edges then. So like this is what I like to do when I have something that has edges and it's clearly an image, so it doesn't feel just like stuck on there. But if it's not, if I can find transparent ones, I like those too. Ooh, that bugs me though. Look at that cut off on the top and the bottom. That drives me crazy. I probably have to wedge it up somewhere or put some stuff around it or something. I don't know. Anyway, looks good though, right? So one last thing I want to look at is to change the whole background. So like, let's say, I really like this background, but let's say I want to do something like this. Like I've got, let me go back to some of the other ones here. This one's kind of cool. First, that's a pretty big, that's a good resolution, 1920 by 1800. If I really want to, I can open this in a new tab and just take a look at it. That's a nice, good full picture. I want this for the background of a slide instead of anything else, like the theme that's in the back of each one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a specific slide and I'm going to go to this. Oh, let me do this one step at a time. Sorry. Okay. So I want to get rid of some of this so you can mostly see the background, but I can still put text over it all I want. But if I right click and I go to change background, okay, then it's a lot easier to choose an image. So what I'm going to do is I can download it, or I can do a Google image search actually and pull that one up. But I found this one on here. It's easier to search through this. So what I'm going to do is right click and I'm going to copy. This time I'll save it to my my downloads. So here it is in my downloads folder. I'm just going to rename it really quick so that I know that I get the right one. Cthulhu background. Okay. Now I know that's in there. I can also do the right click and do it by the URL, but this is just another way that I can do it. And I'm going to upload and I'm going to browse and I'm going to go to Cthulhu background and I'm going to open and hopefully it works. It's a PNG and there it goes. So you'll notice that in this one, they have that theme. So this is where you kind of run into some weird stuff on there, right? So they run into having that theme on there. What I can do to get rid of that if I want to is, let me make sure I can, just because each one of these has that. So if I want to do, I can probably add a new slide. And they all do. So what I need to do on this, if I really want to throw it in, I can make on a different slideshow, I can make a different theme or whatever. But let's just actually go in and let me make sure. So I don't want to reset the theme. I don't need my color. That's not going to do it. Give me a second here. Okay, I go to slide. This one gets a little bit complicated. I didn't prep for this because I couldn't remember. I'm going to go to change theme and I can do a basic. Let's see if that does all of them or just that one. It does all of them. So I don't want to do that. Control Z. I just Control Z to undo that. So instead I'm going to go to slide and I'm going to go to is it edit master? And this might be a bust on this one. I might, here we go in this presentation now. Oof. This is going to delete it from all of them. I'm just doing a little exploring here with you. So this is a long video. That's fine. I'll just see what happens. And then, oops, no. Clicked on the wrong thing there. And so that one, when I went through it, I went to edit theme. It deleted that background thing for it. Still has this right here. I just edit the theme on this one. I can't. So I still have to go into slide, edit theme. You get the idea. Well, if I really want to have a fix, let's go for it. I'll just go a little super advanced here, right? So I'm going to create a new slideshow, new presentation, right? And I'm going to make this one. Let's say I want to have that background, but I don't want all that interrupting stuff. So this is definitely next level. Like I want to spend a lot of time because I want this to be perfect. So let's say that I wanted to add this one. I'm going to change the background on this. I'm going to choose an image. I'm going to upload again. And it's going to be my background, open. So I have a separate slideshow I created. This is really running around. And this is probably an easier way to do this, but this is how I would do it if I really wanted this to be. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy this slide. And this is where I'm going to paste it in. And when I paste it in, it's going to ask me if I want to paste. Yep. Now I'm going to keep original styles. And so then it's going to have that on there. A lot of steps to do that. You don't have to be that meticulous, but hey, if you're still here listening to this, maybe you're actually interested, or you just want to see how much I'm going to ramble. So that way it doesn't have this same kind of stuff going wrong with it, right? And then let's say, though, I did that. Now I probably want to keep some of the fonts and everything. And an easy way to do that is just copy some fonts from another one, and then I can paste those on here. And ooh, it did change my font, though, that way. So I guess I have to look at what that font would be, which is Avera Libre. And this one is Work Sans. And then I can go in and go to Avera Libre. I'll leave this one. Yep. And then I can go back and change color or whatever. So, all right, long run on that one. That's really the last kind of thing I was going to mention on this. You can do things like animations for each thing and have stuff pop in. I'm going to let you worry about that if you really want to do it. Animations can be distracting if you try to do it for everyone, for everything on there, but they're also nice to throw something in every once in a while. All right, so you're welcome. Goodbye.